Take a look at what happened.
Politics must never be a literal battlefield and, God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace.
Under severe opposition fire for his mental acuity, and amid calls to step aside, Joe Biden was seen to be fighting back in the last few weeks.
And that is Motown is Joetown, and it is.
On July 12th, he delivered an energetic speech in Detroit, vowing to shine a spotlight on Trump. This speech was meant to be the beginning of a focused campaign strategy to highlight Trump's controversial behavior and questionable plans for a second term. The plan was to drive home this message until Election Day in November, using it to rally support and regain momentum in the race for the White House.
Take a look at what happened.
Biden had just begun to turn the tables when an attempt on Donald Trump's life took away his most powerful tool, drawing attention to his opponent's behavior. This turn of events has not only shifted the dynamics of the race, but also presented a unique set of challenges for Biden's campaign. Will Biden's plan to revive his 2024 campaign survive this turmoil? Just 24 hours later and under 200 miles away in Butler, Pennsylvania, GOP candidate Donald Trump was giving his speech when shots rang out at Trump's rally. The attempt on Trump's life became the defining point of an era in American politics defined by radicalized views and heated rhetoric. This violent act not only sent shockwaves through the nation, but also dramatically shifted the focus of the presidential race.
Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back. Take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed.
The violence has stymied Biden's efforts to argue his case against Trump. It also undercuts a core premise of his presidency, that he would restore decency and normalcy to national politics. Instead of being able to focus on his campaign message, Biden now faces the challenge of addressing this crisis head-on.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we are fellow Americans. We must stand together. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to can be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. Everybody must condemn it.
Take a look at what happened.
However, the intense focus on the attempted assassination also offers Biden a reprieve from the conversation that had dominated headlines for weeks, whether he should withdraw after his disastrous debate. Some Democrats say they previously believed the party would be best served by replacing Biden, but now that could not happen without contributing to a sense of chaos.
Hard to predict long term, but in the immediate time frame, there's just going to be kind of less, I think, partisan political rancor, much more ramped up security, and just a different media focus and narrative other than what we've seen in the last few weeks that have mostly centered around President Biden. Now it's back squarely to Trump. It sounds like they're pausing any kind of negative political advertisements in the coming days and weeks through the Republican National Convention. That would be in bad form. In some ways, this is going to end the very negative news cycle that had to deal with President Biden's negative performance at the debate and whether he has the age and stamina to serve for a second term. So all the Democratic calls for him to step aside and everything surrounding that is going to disappear.
However, the shooting, and Trump's iconic bloodied fist-pumping response, seems certain to rally voters and donors behind the Republican candidate. Businessmen Elon Musk and Bill Ackman, who previously resisted endorsing the former president, have already come out with public statements backing Trump. While it will be days or weeks before public opinion surveys are released assessing the aftermath, the tide may very well turn in Trump's favor if history decides to repeat itself. For instance, former President Ronald Reagan saw a substantial increase in support when he was shot and wounded in 1981. Many historians believe that the attack cemented his status. By contrast, Biden faces the challenge of keeping up his aggressive campaign pitch without seeming insensitive.
All of us now face a time of testing as the election approaches. And the higher the stakes, the more fervent the passions become. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence.
With Election Day less than 4 months away, Biden needs to reverse his standing. Figures on both sides of the aisle have called for leaders to rise above politics and attempt to heal national divisions. The shooting confirms the fears of half of swing state voters, who said in a Bloomberg News/Morning Consult poll in May that they were worried about violence surrounding the election. Already, Biden's campaign has paused messaging and television ads. He postponed a speech to be delivered on July 15th in Austin to mark the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. His campaign canceled an event to counter the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Vice President Kamala Harris delayed her political travel originally scheduled for July 16th in Florida. The White House has not clarified if Biden will continue with primetime interviews this week. Despite Biden's efforts to express sympathy and give a unifying message, the failed assassination attempt does shift the dynamics of the race in Trump's favor. Republican pollster Frank Luntz believes the shooting guarantees every Trump voter will actually vote, and while Biden won't be able to count on that certainty. The biggest effect is likely to be in battleground Pennsylvania, a must-win for Biden, because that is where the shooting occurred. With Trump dominating the national conversation, there's little Biden can do in the near term to push his anti-Trump message, mend Democratic divisions, and shift the dynamics of the race in a way that reassures skeptics. However, many urge Biden to use caution in overstating the impact of the moment. The belief is based on the fact that till date there has been a minimal shift in polls after other seismic events, including Biden's debate catastrophe and Trump's conviction in the New York hush money trial. Senator Bernie Sanders, a progressive stalwart, expressed confidence in Biden's chances as long as he focuses on his plans for a second term to bolster the social safety net, slash drug prices, and expand workers' rights. Sanders said, and I quote, "If he continues to talk about that, I think he gets re-elected." As Biden navigates this tumultuous period, his focus will be on maintaining stability and projecting a vision of a united America. His campaign will need to adapt quickly to the changing dynamics and find new ways to connect with voters. The president's ability to respond effectively to this crisis will be critical in determining his chances of re-election. But will history repeat itself? Will Trump's campaign get a boost? Or will Biden manage to rally his supporters and come out on top by delivering the victory he has promised? Will Biden turn this crisis into an opportunity? We'll know soon enough.